My mother-in-law keeps inviting my husband's ex-girlfriend to every family dinner because she's the daughter she never had. So I gave her an ultimatum. When I married Nathan 3 years ago, I knew his ex, Juliana, dated him through college. What I didn't know was that his mother, Linda, had basically adopted Juliana as her own daughter during those 4 years. Juliana and Nathan broke up 5 years before we met, but Linda never let go. She kept Juliana's photos on the mantle next to family pictures. Still had her listed as emergency contact at her doctor's office. Called her every Sunday night without fail. Nathan said it was harmless. His mom was just bad at letting people go. The first time I met Linda, she spent the entire lunch comparing me to Juliana. Juliana was taller. Juliana knew how to make Linda's famous pot roast. Juliana understood Linda's humor better. I smiled through it, figured she needed time to adjust. But 3 months into dating Nathan, we showed up for Sunday dinner, and Juliana was sitting at the table. Linda hadn't mentioned she'd be there. Juliana hugged Nathan for a full minute while I stood there holding the salad I'd brought. Linda said she thought it would be nice for everyone to catch up. Juliana spent the whole meal talking about her memories with Nathan, inside jokes, the trips they took together. Linda glowed like she was watching her favorite movie. This became the pattern. Every holiday, every birthday, every random Sunday, Juliana would mysteriously appear. She'd help Linda cook while I was told to relax in the living room. She'd sit in what Linda called her spot at the table. She knew where everything was in the house because she still had a key. Nathan would get uncomfortable but never said anything substantial to his mother, just weak protests that Linda would wave away. After we got engaged, I thought it would stop. Instead, Linda threw us an engagement party and made Juliana the unofficial co-host. Juliana gave a speech about how she was so happy Nathan found someone, though nobody would ever know him like she did. Linda actually filmed it. At our wedding, Linda tried to seat Juliana at the family table. I had to threaten to leave my own reception before Nathan finally stepped in. Juliana still came as Linda's +1, wore a red dress that Linda helped her pick, and cried through our vows loud enough that you can hear it on the video. Last month was Thanksgiving. I cooked for 2 days, made everything from scratch. When we arrived at Linda's, Juliana was already there wearing an apron that said Chef Juliana, that Linda had custom made years ago. Linda announced Juliana had made her famous stuffing, and we'd be using that instead of mine. She literally took my dish and put it in the garage refrigerator for leftovers. I went to the bathroom and cried. Nathan followed me, said I was overreacting, that it was just stuffing. That's when I decided I was done being polite. At dinner, Linda started her usual routine of Juliana stories. How Juliana was so successful at her marketing job. How Juliana just bought a house nearby. How Juliana was thinking about freezing her eggs since she hadn't found the right man yet, with a pointed look at Nathan. Then Juliana mentioned she was planning a trip to Italy, the same trip she and Nathan had planned but never took. She turned to Nathan and said maybe they could finally do it, as friends, of course. Linda immediately suggested they should all go together, a family trip. That's when I stood up. I thanked Linda for proving that she'd never see me as family. That after 3 years of marriage, I was still just the woman who was keeping her son from Juliana. I turned to Juliana and said it was pathetic that she was still hanging around her ex's family, pretending she belonged there, that maybe she should find her own boyfriend's mother to cling to. Juliana started crying. Linda started yelling about disrespect. I kept going. Told Linda that she could keep choosing Juliana, but she'd be choosing her over her own grandchildren. Because I was pregnant, 12 weeks, and Linda would never meet this baby if Juliana was more important than her son's wife. Nathan stood up then, finally, and said we were leaving. Linda screamed that we couldn't leave, it was Thanksgiving. Nathan said Thanksgiving was for family, and clearly I wasn't considered family in this house. We left. Linda called Nathan 43 times that night. Juliana texted him saying I'd ruined everything, that their friendship was special. Nathan blocked Juliana's number and told his mother she had one choice. Either Juliana goes or we do. No middle ground. Linda chose Juliana. That was 3 weeks ago. Nathan's dad called yesterday. He said that we should have a family meeting because Juliana is pregnant with Nathan's baby. I hang up the phone and my hand is shaking so bad I almost drop it. Nathan is standing in our kitchen with his back against the counter, and his face has gone completely white like someone drained all the blood out of him. He's shaking his head back and forth, not saying anything, just making this weird noise in his throat like he can't get words out. I need to know right now if he cheated on me. I need to know if my husband slept with his ex and got her pregnant while I'm carrying his baby. The words come out loud and harsh. Nathan starts talking fast, tripping over his words. He swears he hasn't touched Juliana in over 5 years, not since they broke up way before we even met. He says he blocked her number 3 weeks ago right after Thanksgiving, and he hasn't responded to any of her calls or texts since then. His hands are moving around while he talks, and he keeps running them through his hair. He's saying this has to be a lie, that Juliana must be lying or his mother put her up to this somehow, but I can see doubt in his eyes. He's wondering what Linda might have done, what she might have planned. The panic in his voice makes my stomach hurt worse than it already does. I tell him we need a timeline right now. Every single time he saw Juliana or talked to her in the past year, he pulls out his phone with shaking hands and opens it to show me. The screen shows Juliana's contact with a blocked symbol next to it. He scrolls through his deleted messages folder and there's nothing from her that he responded to. He opens his location history and starts pulling up dates, showing me where he was on different days. His work, our house, the gym, the grocery store, all the normal places he always goes. We sit down at the kitchen table and I grab a notebook and pen. My hands are shaking so bad the pen keeps slipping, but I start writing everything down. Nathan goes through his calendar app month by month for the whole past year. Every family dinner at Linda's house, I was there with him. Every holiday, every birthday party, I was right beside him the whole time. He pulls up his credit card statements on his laptop and we go through every charge. Restaurants where we ate together. Gas stations near our house. The hardware store. The dry cleaner. Nothing weird or out of place. We do this for 2 hours straight. According to everything he's showing me, he hasn't been alone with Juliana once in the 3 years we've been together. The only times he even saw her were those awful family dinners where she showed up and I was sitting right there watching them the whole time. It's past midnight when I finally stop writing and my hand is cramping. I look at Nathan and he looks exhausted and scared. I need to talk to someone who isn't him because I'm spiraling and I can't think straight. I call Violet even though it's so late. She answers on the second ring and I can hear the worry in her voice when she says my name. I tell her what happened and she says she's coming over right now. 20 minutes later, she's at our door with Griffin. They're both in sweatpants and hoodies like they just rolled out of bed. Violet hugs me and I almost start crying, but I hold it together. We all sit in the living room and I show them my notes. Griffin reads through everything while Violet sits next to me holding my hand. Griffin looks up from the notebook and says if Juliana really is pregnant, a paternity test will prove everything one way or another. He's talking in this calm, logical voice that makes it sound simple. He says we shouldn't make any decisions or have any fights until we know the actual facts. Violet nods and squeezes my hand. It makes sense when he says it like that, but it feels impossible to just sit here and wait when I'm this angry and this scared. My baby is growing inside me right now, and I don't know if my husband betrayed me. I don't know if Linda and Juliana are lying or telling the truth. I feel like I'm going to throw up. Nathan tries calling his father back, but it goes straight to voicemail. Then Linda starts calling. Nathan's phone lights up on the coffee table with her name and photo. It rings and rings. He ignores it. It stops and immediately starts again. This happens 17 times in a row. The sound is driving me crazy. Finally, Nathan picks up and puts it on speakerphone so we can all hear. Linda's voice comes through crying and talking fast. She's saying we need to come over to her house right now. She keeps saying Juliana is devastated and Nathan needs to step up and do the right thing. She's talking about family meetings and responsibility and how we can't just ignore this. I reach over and grab the phone out of Nathan's hand. I tell Linda that Nathan isn't going anywhere until Juliana takes a paternity test. If she's really pregnant, we need medical proof, and we need to know if it's actually his baby. My voice sounds stronger than I feel. Linda starts screaming. She's calling me a cruel person who's trying to destroy Juliana's life. She says Juliana would never lie about something this important. She's going on and on about how I've always been jealous of Juliana, and now I'm using this as an excuse to be horrible to her. I cut her off and tell her that Juliana has been way too involved with our family for years. I say Linda has enabled every single boundary violation and made excuses for Juliana's weird behavior. So forgive me for not just taking everyone's word about this. Linda is yelling so loud the phone speaker is crackling. Nathan takes the phone back from me. His voice is steady now, not panicked anymore. He tells his mother he will not discuss this any further until Juliana provides medical proof that she's pregnant and agrees to a paternity test. Those are his conditions, and they're not negotiable. Linda starts saying he's abandoning his child and he's being manipulated by me. Nathan says those are his terms, and then he hangs up. The sudden silence in the room feels heavy. Violet and Griffin are staring at us. My heart is pounding, so hard I can feel it in my throat. Nathan puts his phone face down on the table and looks at me. I don't know what happens next, but I know nothing will ever be the same. That night, I'm in the bathroom throwing up for the 3rd time. The stress mixed with pregnancy hormones has my stomach completely wrecked. Nathan sits on the floor next to me with his back against the wall. He keeps saying he's sorry over and over. He swears he didn't do anything wrong, but his voice sounds desperate, like he knows I might not believe him. I wipe my mouth with a towel and lean back against the tub. My whole body is shaking. I look at him sitting there and I realize I genuinely don't know if I trust what he's telling me. 3 years of marriage and I can't tell if my husband is lying about getting another woman pregnant. That thought makes me want to throw up again. He reaches for my hand, but I pull it away. I need space to think, even though thinking makes everything worse. We stay in the bathroom until almost 3 in the morning. Neither of us can sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see Linda's face or imagine Juliana with Nathan or picture my baby growing up in a broken home. The next morning, I wait until Nathan goes to take a shower and then I call my sister Coraline. She lives 2 states away, but we talk every week. She answers on the second ring and I can barely get the words out before I start crying. I tell her everything about Juliana claiming to be pregnant and Linda demanding a family meeting and how I don't know if Nathan cheated on me. Coraline doesn't even hesitate. She says she's booking a flight right now for this afternoon. She says I need family who's actually on my side, and she doesn't trust Nathan's version of events until she can verify everything herself. She tells me not to make any big decisions until she gets there. Hearing her voice makes me feel less alone, but also more scared because if my sharp sister doesn't automatically believe Nathan, then maybe my doubts are valid. That afternoon, I pick Coraline up from the airport. She hugs me tight in the arrivals area, and I almost lose it again. She's wearing jeans and a blazer like she came straight from work. On the drive home, she asks me detailed questions about the timeline and Nathan's behavior. She wants to know exact dates and specific interactions. I tell her everything I can remember while she takes notes on her phone. When we get to the house, Nathan is sitting at the kitchen table looking exhausted. Coraline walks right up to him and starts asking questions like she's deposing a witness. She's a paralegal and she knows how to spot lies and inconsistencies. She asks where he was on specific dates going back months. She wants to know about his work schedule and business trips and any time he was out of my sight. Nathan answers every question without getting defensive. He pulls out his phone and shows her his calendar. He offers to print his credit card statements. Coraline takes notes on everything. I sit at the table watching this interrogation happen in my own kitchen. Part of me feels bad for Nathan, but a bigger part of me is grateful that someone with legal training is helping me figure out the truth. Coraline asks about his relationship with Juliana and when he last saw her. Nathan explains it was always at his mother's house with me present. He shows Coraline